Hi guys, welcome to another one of my little videos. Today I will be talking about Rogue One. So I actually already saw Rogue One on Wednesday, but then I sort of realized that I didn't have much to say about it without going into spoilers. So I decided to wait with my review until after everybody had a chance to see it. My initial reaction was very positive, and at first I even said it was better than The Force Awakens. Because despite being about events we already know happened, Rogue One manages to tell an interesting and original story. It has some genuinely good action scenes, and it really is the sort of gritty war movie that we've been promised. And you can really feel the grand galaxy-wide stakes there. The visual effects are amazing, with one exception that I will mention later. The spaceship sequences are just beautiful, and actually much better looking than in The Force Awakens. The starship effects were actually so good that I'd be prepared to believe that they used actual physical models instead of CGI. Which means this movie should gel pretty well with the original trilogy if one decided to watch them back to back. The movie is of course filled with fan service, but I felt, with a couple of exceptions, that the fan servicey moments felt a lot more earned here. There were a couple of cameos that felt a bit unnecessary, but overall, most of the fan service stuff felt right and fit the movie well. When we see some of the Rebel pilots that we know from the Battle of Yavin added here using outtakes from the original film, it makes perfect sense that they be there fighting in this battle. There were also other more subtle homage moments that I really dug. For example, in one scene, some of the background characters are playing the chess game that we know from the Millennium Falcon, but they're playing it with actual wooden figures. So in terms of paying homage to the old movies, I think this one does it better than The Force Awakens. But as I thought about it more, I would definitely say that The Force Awakens is overall a better movie. Because it has a lot more depth to the characters, and so it manages to engage with the audience on an emotional level. Rogue One definitely is a fun ride, but it probably says a lot that Jyn Erso is the only character whose name I remembered after the first viewing of the film. The characters are seriously underdeveloped, and this really affected the way I felt about the events in the movie. You don't really care about the outcome of their quest to get the Death Star plans because you already know that they're gonna succeed. So you need to care about what happens to the characters. But because you're not really given much of a reason to be invested in them, you really don't care much what happens to them beyond completing their mission. And spoilers, they all die, of course, because how could they not? They're not in any of the other movies. And actually about the most emotional death was when the droid character sacrificed himself to give them more time to complete the mission. And that is because the droid is so quippy that you actually come to like him during the film. I didn't mind that there was no title crawl. I felt like it was kind of fitting for a non-saga movie to not have the crawl, but when the Rogue One title comes up, I think it would have been much better if they put the classic Star Wars fanfare in there. Because, at least for me, that would get me a lot more psyched for what's to come. Another problem, which I mentioned briefly before, was the addition of completely CGI characters. Mainly Grand Moff Tarkin, played by computer-generated Peter Cushing. Now the CGI model actually looked amazing. It wasn't until he started speaking that he turned into a cartoon. It is the movement that always gives it away. It's the same every time. Like, for example, the animals in the new Planet of the Apes movies and the Jungle Book movie looked perfectly realistic in a still frame, but the motion always gives it away immediately. On the CGI characters in Rogue One, it was the lip movement that was a dead giveaway. I actually found the CGI on Tarkin so distracting that I realized after the scene that I had no idea what the dialogue was about. And I also thought that whoever did the voice of Tarkin was pretty hit and miss too. when we first see Tarkin, we see him from the back, and we see his reflection in the window. And I really think that a couple of like wide shots from far away of him standing on the bridge, and just a couple of lines where he would only be shown in the window reflection would have been a great cameo for the character, and it would have served the movie better. The other CGI character was Princess Leia at the very end, and she looked even worse. But mercifully, she was only there for a couple of seconds. But still, I thought it would have been way better if they just showed her from behind with the cape on. And maybe if they wanted to show her face, they could have used some deleted footage from the original film. That would probably have been better. But anyway, overall, Rogue One is a fun movie with great action scenes and mostly amazing visual effects that is definitely worth seeing in a theater, especially if you're a Star Wars fan.